Oh, hi. Welcome to Miss Lawrence's Math Mastery Mini Movies. Not sure if that's the tag I'll keep, but for now it's one movies. Okay, so as always, please put your name at the top. The first part of this is a review. Nothing new to learn here. So we're sketching the graph of each line. So start with your y-intercept, because we have to have a point to start from before we do rise and run or fall and crawl. It's positive 4. It's my y-intercept. It has to go on the y-axis, not the x-axis, because it's not an x-intercept. It's the y-intercept, so I put it at positive 4. Then I have a negative slope, so I know I'm going to do fall and crawl. So then it tells me I'm going to fall 3, and then I'm going to crawl 4. 2, 3, 4. Put my second line. And then, of course, you made sure to remember that you got a ruler, and Miss Lawrence didn't, again. So, connect your points. It says sketch the graph of each line, not a line without some arrows. That's all you have to do. You have 2, 3, and 4. Those are just reviews, same thing that we've done before. The bottom section is something new. The bottom section is something that you are not going to do in your other class. The bottom section is something that you are going to use on Monday when you start making your foil game for our Engage unit. So it is very important that everybody listens carefully and follows directions, because this is something that you're not going to have in your other math class. You can use it in your other math class, but it's going to be something that you are not going to talk about with your other teacher. Okay, so first let's read the directions. Write the equation for each line on this paper. Show your work on a separate sheet of notebook paper. If you would like, you can pause the video right now and go get a separate sheet of notebook paper if you didn't do that when you came into class. You will not get points if I do not see 1, a slope formula set up with your 2 points, 2, an equation where you substitute 1 point to find the y-intercept, 3, an equation in slope-intercept form on this paper. So you need a separate sheet of notebook paper. You're going to show your work on that piece of paper. I need to see an equation in slope-intercept form on this paper. If you forget what slope-intercept form is, you can draw an arrow. There it is. We have a slope and your y-intercept. And we talked about the slope formula. We're going to end up writing it on our notebook paper where we're going to be doing all our work in just a second anyway. So where it says you will not get points if I do not see, that doesn't mean depending on how I feel I might give you points or not. That means I'm not going to give you points if I don't see all 3 of those things. So I have my notebook paper. The first part, a slope formula. We are all pros at the slope formula, I hope, by now. So let me make sure everybody can see here. So at the top of my notebook paper, I'm going to write my slope formula. Y minus y over x minus x, and that will give us our slope. So on number 5, nothing that's too crazy that we haven't done before. I'm going to use this for point 1 and this for point 2. So I have negative 4 minus 4, and then negative 3 minus 3. We'll do some add the opposite. My slope, I'm going to get negative 8 over negative 6. And then I'm going to look at those and see that they will simplify. If you have a negative over a negative, the negatives cancel each other out. And then these could be 4 over 3. Now, if I look at that, I'm going to ask myself, does that go any more? Can it be simplified anymore? And no, it won't. So that's my slope. So number 1, a slope formula to set up with your 2 points. That's what we did right here. Number 2, an equation where you substitute 1 point to find the y-intercept. To write an equation in slope-intercept form, we need the slope, already found it, and the y-intercept. I am not going to give it to you up here. We're going to be finding it on our own, and this is how we're going to do it. Make sure you can see your 2 points because we're going to be using one of those. In our equation, we have y equals mx plus b. So far, in this equation, I know what my slope is. So if I were rewriting this, I would know that right here for m, 4/3 is my slope. I have already told you guys that we're finding the y-intercept, so I know that it's going to be plus b because that's what we're finding is the y-intercept. Here's what's going to be different from stuff you've done in your other class. Glance back up here. You have 2 options for a point. Pick whichever one you want. I'm going to pick the one with 2 positive numbers because we all like positive numbers. So 3 is my x. Over here in the equation, where x would be, I'm going to put some parentheses, and I'm going to put 3. Over here where y would be, my y is 4 for this point. I'm going to put a 4. So we're following step 2, which is an equation where you substitute 1 point. I picked my point, substituted the x and y in to find the y-intercept. I'm finding b, the y-intercept. That's why I left it as a b. So now I'm going to keep this 4. This I could make more sense to me. I'm going to do 4/3 times any whole number. Its fraction version of itself would be itself over 1. So I'm going to change that. Now I'm going to multiply. I'm going to keep bringing down my 4 and plus b, because that hasn't changed yet. 4 times 3 would be 12. 3 times 1 would be 3. 4 is equal to 12 divided by 3 would be 4, I hope was your answer, plus b. Now, when we get all this business settled, we're going to have a one-step equation. Everybody's favorite, I have a positive 4 that I need to get rid of, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. 4 minus 4 is 0. These cancel each other out, and I'm left with a b. Now, I have a slope that we figured out like 2 minutes ago. I have a y-intercept. Now I can write my equation. So up here, I don't know that there's a way I can fit everything on this paper so you guys can see it. Y equals my slope, 4/3 goes next to your x, plus, I got 0 for my slope, so I could put plus b or plus 0, or if you would like to just leave it like that, that's fine too. I'm going to just leave it like that. That is our answer. I know it takes one more step than you've done before, but we're practicing this because you're going to use it immediately when you come back on Monday for making your game. Okay, so starting with number 6, we have to do the slope formula. So 0.1 and 0.2. So I have -5 minus 3 over 1 minus -1. At the opposite, -5 and -3 equals -8. On the bottom, I get 1 plus 1 is 2. -8 divided by +2 could be, you might be saying -4/1, which is true, but it also then will simplify to just be -4. that right there is my slope. So I'm halfway done. Slope-intercept form, I have a slope, now I need an intercept. So set up your slope form, y equals mx plus b. Now, I know that I'm going to have something for my slope. I know my slope is -4. I know I'm going to put something in for y. I'm going to put something in for x. And I know that I want to find b. I knew that this was -4 because m is for slope in the formula, and this is how I figured out my slope. I use the slope formula for my 2 points to figure out the slope. I put it in where m would be. Now I need to find b by using one of my 2 points. Between the two of these, each of them has one negative. I'm going to go ahead and go with the first one then. So my 1 is my x value. -5 is my y. If you had wanted to use the other point, you can do that. That is perfectly fine with me. So -5 is equal to -4 times 1 would be -4. Now I have a one-step equation. Get rid of a -4 with a +4. Those cancel each other out. -5 is +4. It's -1. Now I have slope. I have to write it in slope-intercept form. I have a slope and a y-intercept. Y is equal to a slope plus I have a -1. If you want to write -4x minus 1, means the exact same thing. I will do part of one more for you. I'm going to try to turn my paper here a little bit so I'm not ready. Oh, look, I could turn it over and then it wouldn't be as confusing. Thank you. Okay, so I got to do some slope formula. So I have a y minus y, so -1 minus 6 over -5 minus 2. Add the opposite. So now that's going to give me my answer for my slope, -7 over -7, which would simplify to be +1, because those cancel each other out. So now I'm going to set y equals mx plus b. I'm going to put something in for y. I know my slope is 1. I'm going to put something in for x. And I need to find b. I'm going to get you guys that far, and then you can finish. You choose one of these 2 points, put in a number for whichever one you put in the x number here, the y number here. You're going to multiply here, and then it should be a one-step equation from there. You'll either add or subtract both sides, and that'll tell you what your y-intercept is, and you can write your equation. That leaves you some of these, if you haven't already finished those, and then some of these down here. So again, we are working on this because this right here is different from what you're doing in your other classes. You can still use it in your other class. If you need to find a y-intercept and you don't know what it is, you can use this exact same thing if you have 2 points that you can use. When you get done, you can raise your hand and have Ms. Horner or I check your answers. You can work with the people in your group as long as you're not asking them what is the answer to this one. Okay, bye.